classic bomb cyclone. This low-pressure center is going to undergo bombogenesis off the southeast coast. That basically means that the pressure is going to drop about 24 millibars in 24 hours, basically exploding in intensity as it races north. It starts forming off Georgia Saturday morning and then rips towards New England by Sunday. Now, I know everybody is obsessed with the snowfall map, but don't underestimate the winds with this one. I think we're going to see hurricane-force wind gusts in the Outer Banks and eventually up there towards parts of Cape Cod. Therefore, I'm concerned about coastal flooding with this one, maybe even in the Delmarva area, but especially in Cape Cod and the Outer Banks. And we have to really think about widespread power outages as well, even in places that don't see a single flake of snow. So please don't be scared, but be prepared for a very rough weekend along the coast.
Snow. Yeah, our own snow. It's actually way easier to make snow than it is rain.
Why is that?
So you know how the material freezes the liquid in the cloud? That means that the cloud has to be cold enough for you to freeze it in the first place, which generally means that it's cold beneath the cloud too. Now, with respect to rain, we're operating in Utah, Colorado, Oregon, California, and Texas. It's all rain in Texas, so we've been in our own rain there. Out in West Texas and the Trans-Pecos, the Panhandle, that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's gotta be pretty, it's gotta be a weird feeling, knowing that that's your rain.
Like I said, that's the second most important thing that I've ever done in my life.
What is the agent?
Yeah, so silver iodide. That is what has been used in one form or another for the last 60 years. Its crystal structure is almost identical to ice. So that plus a couple other material properties make the water freeze onto it very well. We use so little of it, about 50 grams per 100,000 plus acres, that there's no accumulation, no measurable or consequential accumulation in the soil for humans or for farms or for ecosystems. All that being said, though, well, actually, the first point is most cloud seeding operations in the past have used flares. So they'll burn a flare that aerosolizes the silver iodide. But in the flare, there's a bunch of other junk materials, right? People get concerned about aluminum or stuff like that in the flares. So we don't use that because we don't want any additional additives beyond what is explicitly and exclusively for rainmaking. So our aerosol dispersion system just uses silver iodide. Something that we're working on right now is totally organic material found in American soil that is biodegradable, that is more effective and actually costs less per gram than silver iodide. We have a bunch of lab testing to do before we roll that out to the field, and then we need to do all the regulatory permissions at the EPA and otherwise. But silver iodide is what we've used for the last 7 months.
When do you think you'll introduce the other agent?
January 2026.
Coming up, another 6 months. Nice.
Another person said Kim will get the
Right, so you heard it there. First and foremost, okay, they have the technology to make rain, make snow, and even engineer weather, okay, engineer storms, hurricanes. So, first and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone at time of this truth. Yahweh to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashim means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. So, as you saw in that video, or you had that guy going into how, there's a bunch of junk that they're putting up in the sky to make it rain or make it snow. And this shows you how, the world is completely upside down. Let's start with that scripture in, I believe it's Psalms chapter 82 and verse 5. It says, "They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course." All right, so everything is backwards. All right, here it is. These Edomites have made it where, I always say, man has become woman, woman has become man. There are no morals, and everything is out of the original, design. Everything. even when it comes to nature. That's how far, these Edomites have taken it. And the reason why is because, as the brother titled his video, they believe that they are the Most High. Right? When you go into Isaiah 14, and it goes into talking about the king of Babylon and the wicked, this is talking about America, okay, what we're seeing right now. Now, when you jump down to verse 13, it says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High." Right? So that's their mentality, is to be above the Most High, be like the Most High. Because the Most High is the one that controls everything. He is the one that brings, the natural rain and snow and the seasons. No, Esau wants to go around. He wants to make his own seasons. But that's why Yahushua is going to come back, to set everything straight. But it says, "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." Right? They're going to be brought down to a low state. Okay, Yahushua is going to destroy this kingdom. Now, when you go into Daniel, the 12th chapter, it talks about how in the end times, we're gonna see things like this. Right? It says that in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." Right? And that's what this is. Right? The fact that they have patents, right? Patents on weather control. You can literally search this up. Okay, Google patents. Going into, let me see. Let's go to images right here. This is a United States patent application publication. It's kind of blurry. I don't want to click on it. But you can see how it goes into hurricane and tornado control device. And, as you heard in that video, okay, this is clear. This is way clear. It says hurricane and tornado control device, right? So they have the ability to make, okay, these so-called natural disasters, right? And that's why, the brother put this in the beginning, how, a bomb cyclone coming out of nowhere. Well, I wouldn't doubt, it's these Edomites, making this happen. So, as it says in Daniel 12 and 4, "Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." Right? So, the knowledge of the elements, okay, has been increased to a point where, Esau can perform so-called miracles. Okay? And he is gonna, deceive the masses by the ways of this technology via the chip, okay, the Neuralink. When you go into Revelation 13, it speaks about that. In Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15, it goes into the beast, which is going into the system. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast." Actually, verse 14. It says, 13. It says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." Which I don't doubt they have the technology to do that also. If they can make, hurricanes and tornadoes, they can definitely make some fire. And it's crazy because, it's polluting the environment. Like that person said, there are companies that do, that cloud seeding, that they put a bunch of junk, in the sky. And, that's part of the reason why, all of a sudden, people be getting sick. Because the chemicals that you are breathing in, just being outside. So this is why, Yahweh Shemi Yahushai has to do something, because if it was up to these Edomites and, the Most High let them rule forever, they would literally destroy the whole earth. Right? I think it literally says that in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 22. It says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Right? So if the Most High doesn't speed things up, right, he doesn't, have the prophecy start happening, and the days be shorter, then nobody's gonna make it out of here, is what it's saying. Right? No flesh shall be saved, okay, if this goes on forever. Because these Edomites will destroy themselves. Right? That is the way of the wicked. That is their blessing. Right? When you go into the blessing of Esau, his blessing was that he was going to have the fatness of the earth, right, the rich places, and he was going to live by the sword. And you can see that. They don't have a problem solution mentality, right? The only solution to any problem is war. Okay, it's to fight. So Revelation 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiving them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right, so these Edomites are going to deceive the masses by the way of this technology. And the biggest deception is going to be that chip, right? The mark of the beast. Because once they start showing how they can heal people that are paraplegic, right, making them walk again, making the blind able to see again, that's going to completely deceive the masses as to, oh, this is for our benefit. When in actuality, you taking that, you're slating yourself for destruction. Okay, you read that in Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man will worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right, so judgment is going to come upon you, and you taking it is slating yourself to that judgment. Right, there is no escaping it after that. So it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many was not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right, so they're going to have the power to actually make this happen. And if you don't bow down to the system, you will be taken out. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, so without that chip, you're not going to be able to operate in society. You're going to be fully cut off. And that's the ultimate test. And you can see how Esau has the technology. Right, he has the technology. He's trying to be like the Most High, and that chip is going to make him seem as he is the Most High, because it's full control over every single thing you do. Okay, you don't want to take the latest V's, the latest jump shots. Hey, guess what? We're going to turn off your chip. You don't want to listen? We'll turn off your chip. Now you can't do nothing. You can't go nowhere. So that's what they want. And slowly but surely, we're going to get to that point. So hopefully this is edifying. With that, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakudash. Double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, Shalom.